Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy King James here, and don't worry, I haven't forgot about Warzone, and I'm still playing it, even though I'm playing a lot of Vanguard as well. But it got suggested to me to try out the RPD, and if you haven't tried LMGs in a while, well, maybe you should check them out again. I know a lot of the current ARs in the meta, the AK and the EM2, are really hard on console or at 80 FOV, but the RPD has very low recoil. I'm going to call it no recoil, it's so easy to control. So if you're on a lower FOV and the current AR meta is not really working for you, well, the RPD might be your choice. So give me a second to convince you right now.
Victory rests on your shoulder. Finish with
Hello? Ma'am, you just landed on...
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna kill myself until the game.
King James, I'm just gonna land on you.
Come inside! No!
I can't. Oh my god, I like it.
So clearly those guys did not like my choice of loadout, which is why you should check it out. And here, have a look. So the RPD compared to the AK47 and EM2, well, it's about the same, just in this like 40 to 60 meter range, which, let's be honest, a lot of your AR engagements are there. But after 60 meters, its time to kill goes up to about, 850 milliseconds, while the rest of them are, around 750 or so and climb. So there's this gap right here of about 100 milliseconds between them. So if it's 100 milliseconds slower, why am I recommending it? Well, let me show you a couple other things. And this is what I was talking about the recoil and being on console at 80 FOV. And if you play on console, you've probably tried out guys' recommendations and the things are bouncing all over the place. That's because they're on PC at 120 FOV, which really makes recoil look like a lot less. But here's the recoil plot for the RPD. It's basically just straight up and there's almost no horizontal movement. Where when you look at the AK, look, it goes left and right and it's got a bunch of horizontal. And then the EM2 just has a ton of vertical, almost twice as much as the other two guns. But compared to the RPD, it's very low and very easy to control. And then there's also the damage per mag. This is how much damage you can do without having to reload. And look at the RPD. It's crazy high. So if you're running quads, which a lot of us do, and recoil is bugging you, then the damage you can put out and that low recoil really makes the RPD a good choice. And let me show you what I'm talking about with some gameplay. All right, so check this out, and this is what I'm talking about. Look at how nice and easy to control that is. There's very little shake, very little movement, and I'm able to keep that on target on those guys, and they're over 100 meters away, no problem. Again, here, this is also a fairly long distance away, right? No problem staying on him. His buddy ran away. He peeked back out and started to shoot me, so, I jumped back and got back out there, and boom, got him down too. We actually flew down and smoked those two guys. But anyway, here's closer range, okay? Right up close. I'm not sure what this guy was carrying, but he had a loadout. Got him. Another close range right here. Right? He was shooting at me. No problem getting him down. So this thing works really well when you're targeting guys and it's so smooth and easy to use. Well, watch some of these clips. Oh yeah, I see him. I'm coming.
Piece of shit! That's a piece of shit that got me. Oh, okay, they built it all. Rolled it out on the systems that they already had available, not fucking Vanguard.
So I'm carrying my RPD with an OTS 9. If you're not using the OTS 9, you probably should. I'll link my build right here. You want to go and check that out. It's still the best SMG in the game. Now, for the RPD, I'm telling you, this thing really hammers. Let me show you my loadout. But just before I do that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's recently subbed to the channel and is here watching my videos. I really appreciate all that love and support, really and truly. And if you haven't subbed to the channel, consider subscribing because it really does help small content creators like myself. All right, let me show you my build. Now this build pretty closely follows a regular AR build, but there's a couple of slight differences, and let me show you. So no difference here. We're going to use the GRU suppressor for the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range, and the task force, right, which is a good pairing. So it gives you bullet velocity, gets it up to about 1150, which is really high, vertical and horizontal recoil control, and effective damage range. Now for the optic, I'm still using the Axial Arms 3X, and I'm definitely using the Scalpel reticle still. This thing really works well. If you haven't tried tried it. It's from Zombies. You want to go and unlock that. I'll link the build right here. You can go and check that out as well. Now, this is where things get a slightly different, is I don't run a magazine, but I'll give you an option to run one. But for the underbarrel, I'm using the Spetsnaz for the horizontal and vertical recoil control, and instead of a mag, I'm running the Serpent Grip to give me faster ADS time. Now, if you're not that worried about having a faster ADS time and you want more bullets, go ahead and grab a larger mag. You can either go with the Spetsnaz 150, which impacts your ADS and reload speed a little bit, so the reload on this is about 7 seconds, so I think this is going to get you to about 8.5, or you can go with the fast mag, which gives you slightly less ADS time, but gets the reload speed down to about 5 seconds, but then doubles your mag size to make it really oppressive LMG fire. So if you're fighting a bunch of guys down a hallway, you can really suppress guys with this thing. It really works well for that. So you can definitely run either of those magazines. So either run the fast mag or the regular 150, or grab yourself the Serpent Wrap if you want it to feel a little bit more responsive instead of the magazine. And I'm telling you, this thing, if you're on a console or at lower F or V, or even if you're not and you want to try something a little different, the RPD is amazing. It really works well. Anyways, guys, give me your thoughts on the comment section down below. I'm pretty well waiting for all of the Vanguard guns and the new map and everything to get integrated into the, new season of Warzone. I think they're gonna, start it back at 1 again, the same thing as they did with Cold War, and we're gonna get all the new guns and a whole bunch of stuff is gonna change. So it should be pretty exciting when that happens. Warzone's feeling a little stale right now because not much has changed, but it's definitely worth to still try out some new guns. They've been pretty fun to use, but I'm also leveling up a bunch of the Vanguard guns to make sure when all that content drops, I'll be able to have all the builds and all the loadouts for you guys as soon as that comes in. And I think it's going to bring with it the 10 attachment system and a whole bunch of new perks and all that stuff. So it should be really interesting what happens and how the meta changes and how the game feels after it drops. And as far as I can tell, it's going to be really good. I enjoy Vanguard. The perks are good. I think the guns are good. So when the integration happens, I'm actually excited. I think it's going to be really good. And it'll bring anti-cheat with it. So hopefully that will come in and be good and solve a bunch of the cheating problems we have. So I'm really hopeful for the future of Warzone and that it's going to be great. And I think it's going to be. So anyways, guys, if you don't see me in Warzone, if you don't see me in multiplayer, it's only a matter of time, baby. King James out. Dude, if I had ants, he said. I wouldn't have helped you, bro.